Meeting room at 6:01 p.m. We'd like to recognize all of our visitors here and online. And if you will please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Jones, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Moore.
Here.
Mrs. Spindler.
Here.
Mr. Vincent.
Here.
Mr. Ziny.
Here.
Mrs. Engel.
Here. We have a quorum. We can continue. No public participation sign-ups for this evening. We need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler.
Yes.
Mr. Ziny.
Yes.
Mrs. Engel.
Yes. We can continue. We have a presentation by Mr. Janelle with some building updates for us.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good to be back.
Good to see you.
Thank you. I was told to have a quick presentation, so if there's questions, we can kind of ask them anytime during the presentation, or we can wait to the end. But again, we're going to give a primary update on the building project, which includes the OFCC projects, and Dr. Perkins has had me involved with several of the other projects on campus, so we'll bring some of those up also. So again, tonight, a couple review of the projects. The right turn lane you may have heard about, that was something that we need to do on Watkins Road, right in front of the old middle school. That is a requirement to be finished before we open up the new K3 building there, Pataska the South Fork. Right now, you can see where we're at. We're discussing this with the TRC. We need to give them the name of a contractor, and we're going to use Pepper through a CO, a change order. Pepper will get with that TRC, answer the questions, and then there'll be a timeline set up to be shared. And right now, there's no issues getting it done prior to needing it for the K3 building. The soccer fields and additional parking, right now, there's no official timeline established on the completion of the project. The issue is before the Licking County Technical Review Committee. It's already been there once. They had some questions coming back, primarily on the concern of water and making sure that we do not flood the new neighborhood there. So our civil engineer through Garmin Miller, which is KEM, is working on that solution, and hopefully they get the answers back. We'll have a sit down again with the TRC, and hopefully we can move forward with that. All right, so that's another one of the projects we're working on. The additional parking is when I should probably said a little bit about that, but when you go out there, probably within the next week, either tomorrow night to the soccer or football Friday the following, you'll see that we've got some asphalt going down, and there's a parking lot that you'll see on one of the slides coming up that is going in place, but there's some stone around it. That was outside the limits of the K3 building, and we're looking at filling in those gaps. So that's being presented to TRC since it also impacts the conditions and the water on the site. So that is part of that particular agreement.
And I would just like to add the TRC is very slow.
Yeah.
Are they only meeting once a month still?
I don't know how frequently
I
they
think
meet.
they meet a couple times, but they may only meet with one entity, us maybe once a month.
Okay.
Next time we meet is September 5th, and that is on the restroom facilities. Now, hopefully, as Dr. Perkins just said, we can get the TRC to meet on the soccer field soon, too.
Because I think I was talking to Mr. Perkins earlier this week about the soccer specifically, and his hope is to start as soon as this season is over this fall so that it's ready for next fall.
I think that was the original plan, yes.
That's probably overly ambitious at this point.
Really?
But
But we've been talking about this since 2019.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, we're at the hands. We can't move any faster than TRC. And this has been going on since last March, and maybe even earlier, I feel like.
We were discussing the soccer fields last November and December.
Yeah,
But with the TRC earlier this
yeah,
year, yes.
it's definitely not a lack of us trying to get this
No,
done.
I believe that. I'm more worried about continued injuries.
Right.
And you know, maybe a contingency plan if we aren't, you know what I mean?
The plan is to put sod on the game field, so I don't anticipate we're going to have a problem with that. It's just the initial plan was to seed the practice field, so that may be, depending on cost, something we have to discuss.
Okay.
Once we get approval finally from TRC. So.
Is there, you know, I know the TRC is, probably likes to have the power that they have. Is there anything, I mean, you know, can we get in touch with the commissioners? Can we get in touch with our other government entity? Is there anything you think we should do, or is that, I mean?
You know, it's hard to say. I guess for the record, the
Yeah.
TRC is a technical review committee
Right.
for Licking County, so those that didn't know, I thought we should probably
Yeah.
say that. The group of agencies come together, review a plan, and they kind of ask questions about it. But the last time we met with the TRC on the soccer field, the Licking County engineer did not show up for the meeting.
Oh.
So we did not get their
remember that.
responses to what their issues are. So we were dealing with the questions from the other entities, but we were still waiting on the questions from the engineer. So, you know, I don't want to blame one party because it's a slow process, as Dr. Perkins said, and I don't want to get anybody upset with us, but if anybody knows anybody from the Licking County entity, they're just very busy with intel and everything else going on, but it would be nice to, you know, the foundation of the community obviously is the schools.
Right.
We get a little push here, but I can't speak for them.
No, I know
No,
we're
no,
doing
no.
everything, and
Yeah,
it's all, I just
yeah.
using this to ask my question.
Text
You can ask away. I'm gonna look that way, but. All right, I had moved it forward to the old middle school abatement demo and additional parking. That's another package that we're presenting to the TRC. The old middle school had been planned. We were hoping to take it down during the summer, but again, it's before the TRC. They decided that they wanted to review that process on the building coming down. We didn't have to do that with the old elementary where the district office was. But that has moved into withdrawing the abatement process of it, and we just had that bidding process. So abatement will begin very soon, and that may even be on the agenda tonight. I didn't look, but that might be, I don't know if Rick has that presented. So yeah,
is.
you'll be talking about that. That will take about 4 weeks. But in that meantime, we're hoping that the TRC will come back and basically evaluate our plan to see whether or not we can move forward with taking the building down. And then we do have grass going into place, but we've also submitted a plan for additional parking. So you will have to review whatever that price might come back once it's approved.
Okay.
Okay? So that's another one of those projects we're working on. The West Athletic Field restrooms, matter of fact, we are basically getting through the design process. Down at the bottom left, I was hoping it'd come up a little bit bigger. We were required, again, when we put these restrooms in by the state and the county, to have a more permanent structure with the restrooms. They've also dictated how many stalls that go in each of these.
Of course they have.
And all based on the number of open seats, and I think they equated something around 600 people could fit out there at that place at one time. So that is the size of restrooms that we are going to have. The pictures to the right are what we're working with GM in terms of what the outside of the facility will look like, and obviously this is a plan that will be submitted to go out to bid, and then obviously, you know, Dr. Perkins and Mr. Jones will work with you on following through on that. But the hope is that, again, this goes to the TRC on September 5th, and that, you know, there are very few questions, and we can begin the process of moving forward with that. This is the schematic of the arrangement out there. You can see in the very bottom center, that little square box again, that's where the restroom facilities will go. Right above it would be the parking expansion. So we'll increase it by 3 additional rows. And again, there'll be some additional sidewalk tying the restrooms to the various facilities. So that should give you a quick look of what we're hoping to do out there.
And that was 96-ish parking spots. Is that what I remember?
The new number? There have been some adjustments because we had medians in there. I'd have to recount, I apologize. But we've tried to basically take the grass out and put as many parking spots down there as it could because the
Okay.
demand is very high. So I can shoot you a number.
You're fine. Boosters were asking, and I thought I remembered it being 96, so I was just curious.
Okay, yeah.
That didn't look like
That
that.
doesn't look,
that
I don't
high.
think it's that high.
I thought it was
don't think it's
72
that high.
Yeah,
or
that's-
something
I
like
thought it was
that.
in the
Like
70s.
60?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought,
Something in the gray area.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's what
yeah.
I was thinking.
Well, then you have to add what's already there.
What- You're right.
That's what I'm saying, I'm just counting up the new ones, it's about 60
Okay.
something plus the maybe 18 to 20 that are there.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be the 96 total.
Okay. All right, so, again, some additional sidewalk, and hopefully that facility, again, will move forward.
And then did that design have a place for concession stand? Did we?
no, that will not be a concession
Did
stand.
not, okay.
We'll be working to make some modifications
To what we
was
have.
put in on the baseball.
Right, okay.
Yes, so that's how that will take
All
care of
right.
that. Just because that we figured that nobody would probably want to work that
Yeah.
area if you can't see the field to watch your kid play.
Yeah.
Another project that we're taking a look at is to kind of finish the middle school project. I'm not going to rehash the whole CMR process with Robertson, but there were some areas that we still have some issues with. One of them is water infiltration into the split face block that we have out there. It kind of absorbs in, runs down the walls, and then in the classroom or hallways, you'll see ceiling tiles wet, that type of thing. So the plan, we've tried 3 or 4 different techniques from caulking and replacing different sections. So the proposal that we feel will work, because we've done it over at Kirkersville now, is to put a siding over top of it. So we're getting our numbers all together, and again, it's a little bright, but there's the dark regions. The entire building won't be sided, but areas that we're having problems, like right in through here, this little darker area, this darker area, and these areas right there, are the areas that we're looking at putting sided.
Are we also looking at putting it on the side with those black streaks? No?
Not at this time.
Not this, yeah.
All right.
The little color over there in the right-hand corner, we ran some colors by Dr. Perkins, and right now that's the color that we'd like to go with. It kind of complements the white with the building. So
We're still finding out the price for that.
we're putting all the drawings together.
Okay.
And then we will more than likely get a bid estimate from the architects, and then we'll have to decide what we want to do at that time.
Okay.
It's going to be a bit out probably.
All right.
Closing out at the CMR projects, this would include like the WIS building, the high school building, Etna Elementary, and the middle school renovation. So we're looking at a few issues left. The site conditions, again, we've had trouble making that large detention basin grow ground, or not ground, but grass to cover the ground. That process is pretty much completed. We just need to verify that what was designed and what was built both still fit within the models when it comes to water and keeping the water from flooding the neighbors. Terrazzo flooring issue, as you know, there's scratches. They're not as noticeable, but they're certainly there, but we need that addressed. Drainage around the high school downspouts, when it rains real heavy, you'll see them bubbling up. And then the WIS settling issue in the classrooms. We've been told it's nothing dangerous, but obviously cosmetically and long range, we want to know what's going on. So we have Terracon right now reviewing their soil boring tests, and this will go along with one we had done by CTNL originally. So there may be some new findings, there may be the same findings.
What's going on?
The classroom slabs in certain rooms are actually settling a little bit. They tell us that's normal in buildings, but we thought it was it was happening very quickly. We
Right.
want to make sure, since we built up the soil, that there was no issues. And we're being told there's through CTNL, everything was good, but we want to get a second
Yeah.
opinion before releasing Robertson from the job.
And just to add to that, not to hijack your presentation, Bob, but we've been talking about this terrazzo for years, literally years. And finally, Christian from Robertson has asked for a sit down with the district. So that's the most promising. That's the best thing we've had so far in years of discussion to get these buildings closed out. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, I think that's pretty much all of the smaller projects that are very important to the district. These are the other kind of projects we've gone through and finished and when their timelines were. We're to Kirkersville Elementary, and I'm going to show you a few slides of Kirkersville, but I think the best experience is when you get out there, walking through it, just seeing all the changes that have happened. So I don't have a lot of pictures. I don't want to slow down today. There's a few of the classrooms, that type of thing. But if you have questions or heard things, please just kind of speak up. Again, the cool cats out there, Kirkersville Elementary. This is a drone picture from up, just showing you all the changes that we've made to the site. And one of the things I wanted to emphasize is the fact that one of the main goals of these renovations is the safety, and just 8 things that come to mind real quickly, and there are a lot more. You don't want to give away all your trade secrets, but the long sidewalk for safe drop-offs in the morning, the whole idea of having a turnaround from the parents is much, much safer for the whole situation. Gets people off of 158. Down there at number 3 is there's no more parking along 158.
Yes.
So we're there. The bus drop-off area now has a sidewalk that the kids can get on, so hopefully the kids can identify the safe zone. Number 5 is a secure front entrance. Number 6 is a courtyard that's usable and safe and meets all the codes, and that's a beautiful space. Number 7 is a safe playground. Not only was the playground redone, but the asphalt was totally redone, so all that area, and I do have a close-up picture of that, so that's much more safe. And number 8, again, is all the security within, from classroom locks and things of that nature within the building. And again, it would involve cameras and things like that. But just, sometimes you don't see all these changes, but they're great because they make our students and our teachers safer. So just some small things there. This is the back view. It just shows you that parent loop. That's a huge loop if you haven't driven it. I mean, that's made for ladder trucks from the fire department to make big swings. You can kind of see a little bit of the playground, but I'm going to go back to the front. This was one of the main issues, is to have, this is the front of the building. This is where you come in. This is where we want you to be before we let you in the building. So again, everything there is set up for safety, just a different angle. Some people always wonder why the front looks a little different. It's that eye catcher. This is where you go. Here's the playground. That is a light blue. It's a beautiful color if in person. The whole thing got kind of delayed a little bit because one of the posts got bent, but it is completely finished. It is hardening now. The fence will come down, and it should be ready for next week.
Awesome.
So there's no issue with that. It's got a giant slide.
That slide is amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I mean, it's a lot of fun toys. It's a great environment, and then also with the asphalt up there, there's some basketball hoops and some things that they could do there. So knowing where they were, Kirkersville Playground, to where we're going, it's just so much nicer. I went too fast. I don't know if I can go back, but this is a classroom, and it should move, but that just shows you the setup. This is one of the areas that we did a wholesale change, is the art room. The drywall, ceiling, all of that was redone, all new cabinetry. This was a very harsh environment before. It's a very nice environment, I think, now for educating the kids down there. And hopefully they'll have some great experiences. This is it kind of goes back to that first picture. That first picture was a classroom without the furniture, just to kind of show you what they got, the standard issue. This is, I believe it's 3rd grade got tables, and some of the other grade levels got, this is K1 and 2, 3rd grade got desks. So it just kind of shows you what ended up going in the classrooms. This was another amazing change. We took down all that blown plaster. We opened up the ceiling and found out it's a beautiful ceiling, and it's all been rust-proofed and recoated, new lighting. This picture is actually not old, but it's antiquated because the seating has been changed from yellow to black. So that's kind of a finishing touch, but it's a beautiful space. And if you go the other direction, after the lighting, it's got a nice little small stage. It's got a 20-foot screen that comes down so they can continue to have their movie nights or whatever else they want to do with the kids and their families. So great space. We're going to move to, and you can ask questions or we can to the end, but South Fork Elementary, again, is one of the last of the OFCC, and I know that we continue to grow, so there's a lot of excitement in the future, but this is the last one right now on the books. This is the site as of this morning, and you can kind of see the parking area that's getting paved, and the whole building area kind of zoom it in a little bit. The roof's going on. It's all weather tight in terms of the ceiling area. The windows are in, but the metal sheeting is now being installed on the roof. Inside, there's a lot of work happening also. But I wanted to show you, just to remind you that this is the path coming in off the bus loop, because the middle school to the right obviously comes down, and that parking, according to the approval from the TRC, was ability to get cars off of Watkins Road. So they'll come down the bus route. It's a different timeline currently than what the middle school is, so there shouldn't be any conflict. And it's your husband.
I'm not charging him.
I'll call him back. He's probably wanting to know what we're doing right here. But that asphalt right now, it was just started. That was this morning. That's pretty much finished. They've got this first layer of the base coat on it. And kind of zooming in a little bit, this will show you what was put into the project for parking on that side. Now there'll be some additional parking up front off the road, and I'll show you as we do a quick fly around, and you can kind of ask questions as we fly around, but you'll see where we're coming off Watkins Road. But you can kind of see the stone down here behind the building. We're putting new concrete and the road in front of the maintenance building, so that is the area that we're hoping to add some asphalt to. But a new bus diesel area so that it's nice and smooth for loading and the gas. This is just a different look showing you that. This is inside one of the kindergarten rooms. And again, I don't know why cameras do this. It makes it look super long, but it is 1,200 square feet. It does have a restroom. Remember, you've got about 6 of those. And they're just beautiful spaces, and it's really coming along. This kind of reminds you a little bit of the Wisp, but this is the dining area with a stage, and the office is right behind that. And to the left is the dining area, and to the right is the media center. So really exciting things are moving along. Mechanical systems being installed. So again, this is hoping to be finished like late spring, and with summer doing punch lists, so there should be right on schedule. This is the fly around, and you can ask questions. There's really no sound to it, but you can see the front area. That's going to be the bus drop-off area. Right now, to the bottom, about 5 o'clock, moving to 6 o'clock, that is where your playground is going to be. Your parking, again, which was converted to asphalt earlier today and yesterday, is up to the north. You're going to start seeing about 9 o'clock the road leading up to where it's going to cross into Watkins Road. We had to get a variance to get that road. But the road by the trailer disappears, remember. So we'll have the new entrance, then we'll have the entrance behind the existing old middle school, and then the one with the light. So you're going to see between the two buildings, instead of having it 2-story, they're long hallways. We've kind of gone through that. But in the middle, there's going to be concrete that comes out. You can see it being formed and poured. It's going to be a beautiful space.
Grass.
To the right, now about 5 o'clock, moving down to 6 o'clock, that's the parent drop-off area. And right now you can see piles of dirt, but there's asphalt there now. But that's where the parents will come down that long lane. They'll go up into that area and use that sidewalk to drop off their kids if they're parent drop-offs. So again, it's just kind of coming along, and we can kind of let that finish and see what kind of questions that you have.
Kind of in that area, the boosters were asking the other night when they might be able to drive back to the concession stand area, and will that be ready for football possibly?
Yes, well, that's what we're really hopeful for. The next Friday night, first home game, I believe, we are working with Pepper and having that area accessible for cars. We're actually hoping that we can make it accessible before that, possibly as soon as this weekend.
Okay.
It's all weather dependent. We've got rain coming, and it's tough to lay the asphalt in the rain, but they're really, really pushing hard. And the way that would work is that they would come in through the bus loop down that road, and the site would be fenced off, but they'll also have to fence off that maintenance building because there's concrete, and that takes at least 7 days to harden up. And we pour one side at one time, and then we pour the other side. But the hope is to have that come in there. And even though it will only be the base coat, Pepper is also trying to get it lined for us, so there's some organization to the parking. But you can see that there's gonna be some substantial organized parking where the old tennis courts and some of that gravel used to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know Mr. Perkins worked on getting some golf carts because girls soccer has 2 games, like tomorrow and Saturday, and I know there was concern for some grandparents and possibly wheelchair folks too.
I understood that's true, but we're really working, we're hoping. I'm gonna go back in tomorrow morning and talk with Alan from Pepper to see where we're at, and the hope is that we can have that open up. But we don't want to expose the building
Yeah.
before we're ready.
No.
Obviously, we don't want any damage or any graffiti, that type of stuff.
For sure.
But we're working our hearts out trying to get
That's
it
great.
finished. That area. Then there'll be a top coat put on later that will finish off it. So if you see a little bit of flooding here and there, that's what happens with the base coat. It's not always brought up to where the drain lines are, or the drain covers. Anything else?
Tell me about the misplaced phone.
Phone?
No, who brought that up?
That was not me. That had to
I
be
just
Rick.
heard a
Did you say
story.
phone?
I just heard a story.
I'll tell a story. I'll tell a story. But, I thought I was supposed to be quick. The story is that, working really, really hard, and it got to like 3 in the afternoon, decided to have lunch. No, it was more close to 12. Went to Ziggy's and had lunch, and came back, and apparently I put my pop and my phone on top of my car. And I had to get to a meeting, and the meeting started at 1:30, and then it's like, okay, I grabbed my pop, started walking the site, talking about the asphalt, and then I said, I've lost my phone. Well, I had gone to lunch with one of the architects, and so I said, can I borrow your keys, look in your car? And it wasn't there. So I figured I left it at Ziggy's. So I jumped in my car, drove all the way to Ziggy's. I mean, I drove like a bat out of you-know-where, and I'm turning corners, and, they didn't have it. And so on the way home, I'm going, oh, golly, I got to talk to Rick about a new phone. I got to talk to Rick about a phone. Then all of a sudden, my car phone rings. I'm going, how is that possible? How is that possible? Well, I left my phone on top of the car, and it made the entire trip to
Wow.
Ziggy's all the way back, and it's allowing me to talk to somebody on my phone. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. See, now, did we really have to hear that story?
I did. I wanted the board to hear it.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you. If you have other questions.
Is that a commercial for Otter? Was that?
Right. Yeah.
It didn't actually, well, see, I have a bug vid on the top of my CRV, and so it kind of got trapped in there, and so it didn't slide in.
Nice.
Gonna say that's some.
Yeah, I left mine on my tailgate one time, and it did not.
It did not make it?
Did not make it. No. Nope.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
you.
Bob. All right. Request to speak. Teamsters. All right. How about Southwest Licking Education Association?
No.
Approval of minutes. Can we get a motion to approve last month's minutes?
Motion to approve 4A.
Second. Questions? Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Spindler,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mr. Ziny,
Yes.
Mrs. Engel.
Yes. Passes. How about a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
Second.
Included is the July 31st, the first month, the new fiscal year. We have estimates in the column, but it's just the actual numbers. So we got advances that came in, obviously a couple million higher than we got last year, but I don't expect, once estimates are in there, that's gonna be more property taxes we just got sooner. Kind of the big thing I wanted to bring up was the income tax. We talked about it 3 years ago, it was like a 13% increase for a year, and then the year before that, it's like, year after that, it was like 16%. Then last year went like negative 2.9%. Well, this one came in at 15.4% higher than the year before. Why? I have no clue. It's just going like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we'll take the money. We're not going to give it back, obviously. But so the big thing is income tax, which this is our largest settlement. Came in 15.4% higher than last July,
Okay.
which is always a good thing. So, other than that, fairly routine, again, until we get estimates in place, just the actual numbers. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
I have a weird question. So when you said that it was like 13, 15, -2, now it's 15, is that a percent change from year to year?
Yes.
So really, if it's 15 this year, higher than last year, we were in the negative last year. So we
Yeah.
just kind of got back to normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But that one big dip for
Got it.
no big reason, which is a good thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm just trying to do the math.
All right, any questions for Mr. Jones?
Nope.
All right.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler,
Yes.
Mr. Ziny,
Yes.
Mrs. Engel.
Yes. All right, we need a motion for personnel consent calendar, 6A through L.
So moved. Second.
The only thing I wanted to share that I thought was exciting or positive is we did have a guidance counselor choose kind of last minute to take a year's leave of absence, maternity, and we were able to find a qualified individual at the middle school. Her name's Paris Huggins, so I hope you have an opportunity to meet her. That was a great last August hire. We were really, really excited to get her, so I hope you guys have that chance. And everything else, there's lots of supplementals and that time of year, but
Awesome.
just wanted to share that.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Burton? All right, Mr. Jones.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mr. Ziny,
Yes.
Mrs. Engel.
Yes. We have 7A through F, business items. Looks like we probably could take all those together if that's okay with
Yeah.
everyone. Need a motion for those?
So moved.
I'll second that.
So just to kind of run through, we'll bounce back and forth, Rick and I. So A is our policies for second reading. These are the ones we discussed last month, the AI, cybersecurity, and cell phone usage. So if there's any, again, clarifying questions, happy to go over them. Do you want to talk about the MOU or,
Yeah, I can. It's MOU we've had for, the same one we've had for the last 3 times with the Sheriff's Department to provide SOR officer. Obviously, we pay 100% of the costs when we are using that SOR officer. Really nothing out of the ordinary has changed. Just the only thing really changed is the financials. So it's not for a certain SOR officer, just any SOR officer. Ours currently is Deputy Brill, but
resolution of practicality, more transportation to outside entities that we're paying in lieu of transporting. D and E, Eagles Wings Academy and I Am Boundless. Dan can definitely answer if you have any questions. I did want to just point out, just because the I Am Boundless, if you notice, it's $106,000 for the year for that student, which is just another great example. Not necessarily will the student come back. I can't speak to the individual child. However, examples like this are why the new school we'll be having in Pataskla is going to be great for our school district. I don't know if you have anything to add, Dan, for D or E, or if not, no.
Are the 7 seats at Eagle Wings already accounted for, or is this just our place?
Those are accounted for. Right?
Okay.
Yes. Yep. They've had a little more flexibility the last couple of years to add as they go. So we didn't lose any of that.
Okay, great.
We do have a couple, from the last month, a couple extra at Phoenix still.
Okay.
Yep.
Couple open at Phoenix?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then do you want to speak to the abatement, Rick?
yeah, so F is the previously mentioned abatement for the Watkins Middle School. This was bid out through the High School Facilities Commission. We had several, to get the exact number, several companies actually bid on it. The architect's estimate was $155,000, and you see the lowest bid was $110,000, a little over $110,000, so $825. So recommended Gandy, who basically we work with for a hazardous material abatement. It's their recommendation that we go with the, who is it? O'Rourke Wrecking Company. So.
And once they get started, it's 4 weeks,
Yes.
but they have to wait to get started for the TRC.
No. No, originally the thought was to wait, but we decided to go ahead because we were going to try to package the abatement and the demo into one. And since the TRC was being so far slow, so we said, let's just move forward with the abatement. Let's get that done, the building ready to go. So as soon as we get the approval, we can bid out the demo and get the demo done.
Okay, so we approve this tonight. How quickly do you think they would start tearing that down?
I would think, I don't know I would think within a week or two. No, tear it down, or they don't tear it down, they're just.
Right,
they're just
taking the
big.
inside, right.
Yeah, I would say probably within a couple weeks. They just have to organize and get everything ready to go. You know, it's a little bit different, I guess, when it's a demo building. They do a lot more exploratory,
Okay.
knocking in walls, trying to find asbestos versus a renovation, so it's a little bit more in depth.
Okay, and none of that would impact Friday night football or
No,
anything like
no,
that?
it's all done inside the building, and it should have no
So
effect
no
whatsoever.
traffic issues or
No.
anything? Okay, all right.
All right, no more questions? Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Engel?
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes,
Mr. Zani?
Yes.
All right, we have item 8, treasurer's items, A through D, motion to approve.
Motion to approve 8A through D with thanks.
second.
Fairly routine stuff, obviously donations, we appreciate those. We have some more statement of purposes, and those will be continuing for the next few months as school gets up and running, get those completed. Transfer, we have some money, high school facilities, not the high school athletic facilities changed where local districts had to start running tournaments, and we have to keep all the money and then send them money. But we have leftover money in a tournament account that we're going to actually transfer over into the athletic account for them to use as they see fit. And then the last one is a then and now certificate, just timing of getting purchases done in the purchase order, the year-end closeout.
Does that money help to cover any of the grass they destroyed for the?
No, this is
Basketball
all profits from when we ran various tournaments for the last 2 or 3 years. So it'd be nice, but no, it's not
just had to
money,
get that
actually
little,
money from them, but
I just had to get the little dig
It's
in there.
good,
It's
yeah.
all right.
All right, Mr. Jones, you want to call the roll on that?
Mrs. Spindler,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes,
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Zani,
Yes.
Mrs. Engel.
Yes. Now, 9, superintendent's items.
Can you pass that around for me, Roger, please?
I can.
So coming around is enrollment. I'll wait till it gets to everyone and then talk for a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, so a couple things I wanted to share. And it can be a little bit misleading. So we ended the year in May with 5,015 students. And we're starting currently in August with 5,056, which is only a gain of 41 when you look at it that way. When you do a comparison of, we started last August with 4,843, so we gained 172 students over the course of last school year. So if we follow with Woolpert, the old cooperative strategies, now Woolpert, is projecting, we'll continue to grow just as we did last year with this year. So from August to August, we've had a gain of 213 students. I think that's very important to note because I think it's misleading when you just compare May to August.
Right.
So when you look at the data over the course of a year, and then you look at last August from May, that's our growth. So currently 213 from August to August, 41 to May and August. So as the new builds come in, and as you've seen a lot of them coming up right now, I anticipate we'll continue to have more growth as we did last year. So I'll continue to update the board for what that looks like. But I didn't want to just share that 41 number because that seems a little misleading compared
Right.
to our growth over an entire
So
school year.
where are we at capacity then? Are we full at every
So
elementary?
we are
or-
currently at capacity based on the numbers of the building at the high school, the WIS, and the middle school.
Okay.
We are completely out of every space possible at the WIS. At the high school, there's some advantages. We're able to get a little bit creative just because some of the students do leave early.
Yeah.
If they were all there all day, that would be the same situation there as well. So the WIS, we wouldn't even have room if we had to hire another grade level teacher. I don't know where they would go. They'd have to probably be on a cart, or someone would have to be on a cart,
Wow.
unfortunately. Yep, so that's kind of where we're at with enrollment. Do you guys have any questions on that, or?
So, not to be Debbie Downer, but let's just say, if we would in fact have to add, I mean, did we get enough students in 4 or 5 last year that we had to add on?
We hired teachers last year. This year we haven't had to. And we lowered the numbers to 25 to 1. That was kind of the commitment I wanted to try to make, not contractually, but just my personal commitment, because I think it's best for kids to have 27 is high for 4th and 5th grade. And we've been able to fulfill that as of the last time I looked. Again, kids are enrolling, kids are withdrawing.
Right.
So we're okay right now, but we don't have a ton of openings. Matter of fact, based on the 25 to 1, in 5th grade, we're pretty tight.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's not far off that I can envision we're going to need another, at a minimum, 5th grade teacher.
Yeah, that's
So
what I'm
it's
like.
a matter
Is
of
that, like,
time.
is that a matter of, you know, if things go really awry, like December? I mean, do you
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to predict
I know
that.
it is. I know. I understand that.
That's
but-
that's the only the third class over 400.
So,
The juniors, the 7th grade.
in the fifth grade, yeah.
so
I know
we just
it's
have to
hard to
keep watching, and then
Yeah.
they're going to have to get creative with space until we're able to figure out, again, how to accommodate all these kids.
That's crazy.
And then I just wanted to share, today was obviously the first day of school, not for everyone. That will be, well, middle school, high school will be tomorrow. K-5 will be on Monday. So it was a really good day. Lots of smiling, excited faces at the buildings that I was at today. Tomorrow will be the test with transportation for our 6 through 12 folks. And then obviously Monday will be the whole another animal when all the elementary is back. So we do anticipate some delays as always for the first few days with busing. But it won't take long to get those kinks worked out and have everything going well. And then just a plug for the school district street fair booth. We also are advertising and sharing our Eco Warriors for if you want to buy pavers for the trees. We have that going on at the street fair booth. Copies of the newsletter that was mailed home to all of our families. So for those in the community that don't have kids in the school but still would like to see what's going on in the schools, we have that there as well. So you can feel free to join us at any time if you'd like. And that's all I have.
And just for everyone's information, when you drop off your child at the high school, you have to go all the way to the top.
I mean, someone may have not
Casey
seen.
had to correct me.
I didn't know it was Kathy because the sun was beaming, and I was like, "Ma'am, all the way to the."
I'm like, I'm not coming back
And
tomorrow.
then
She's
here
a
comes
ride
Jordan out of the car. I was like, "Oh, hi, Kathy, my boss." Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways,
That was so funny.
it was funny. So that's
All
it
right.
for me.
Great. Mr. Jones, I guess it's time for adjournment. Would you call the roll, please?
Motion for
Oh,
adjournment.
motion for adjournment.
I'll second that. We're all good.
How about Mr. Jones now?
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler,
Yes.
Mr. Ziny,
Yes.
Mrs. Engel.
Yes, we are adjourned at 6:44 p.m.